And what is one favorite tool or trick or hack that makes your life more convenient or efficient or fun?
I do think that is my calendar, and there's a blog post about it. And so, others, if you haven't seen it, you're welcome to check it out. But yeah, I that is my favorite, and it's actually ended up. It's interesting that it's evolved naturally over time. Where so I think the roots of it come from just how I grew up. Right, my family is big on that. Whatever you want to get done, you have to write it down, otherwise you're going to forget. Right, that was just such a common thing in my household, that if you don't want to forget something, you should write it down. Which at the time I didn't realize is not how other families operate. And so my dad, for instance, has like what we call in India, we call it a diary. Here, you might call it a planner. But it's this little notebook with dates on it, and whatever he wants to get done on a certain day is just sort of a list that he would write down. And this is all through my life. So he probably has, like, I don't know, like 36, 37 at least, probably more, because he was probably doing this before I was born. But so he has all those, and so I've always seen this notion of writing things down and planning and all of that. And I think over time, um, as I just had more things that I needed to do, it just came very naturally to me that I need to figure out what I'm going to do when. And that just seemed like the most natural way of planning as opposed to a list. And that just system over time evolved. And so up until a few years ago, I didn't realize that this is a thing that others don't have a system, and that if I were to tell someone about it, they would actually find it new and interesting. And so I think we were just chatting about it with some of our students. I don't know if it was Virginia Tech at the time or if we had already moved to Georgia Tech. And they were quite intrigued. And then as I talked to more people, I realized that, oh, this actually seems to be something that's useful and new for people. And so that's how I ended up writing it up. But for me, it had evolved very naturally.
Yeah, yeah. It is also my favorite tool or trick or hack. Not the calendar directly, but indirectly through you. Is there a particular tool or hammer or hack that makes your life just more convenient or efficient or fun? Is there a particular hammer that you found that you can use over and over again?
I mean, within research that
I was thinking more broadly, but if you wanted to narrow it down to research, that's fine too.
yeah, I don't know. I think, so I thought, I'm very much cross paradigm or something, because I've lived through all these paradigms, right? I grew up in the logical paradigm in AI. I lived through, I guess I would actually call it second generation neural nets, because first generation neural nets actually literally happened before I was born, right? With like the development of the perceptron.
Yeah.
And then I lived through the whole Bayesian era and the kernels and all of this stuff. And you can look at my Vita. I have papers on all of these things at various points in the time over my career. And so I'm not particularly wedded to any of these tools. I find they're all can be useful and in various circumstances, and it's useful to know about them. And I really think I think everyone knows that I believe in this thing. We need to synthesize these different paradigms. I thought Josh Tenenbaum gave a nice talk at ACL this last summer on this, that I think the logical paradigm, the Bayesian probabilistic paradigm, and the neural paradigm all have us something to offer us in terms of understanding, how to build intelligent systems and even understanding human cognition. I think they all bring something to bear to increase our understanding of those things. And I think the future is more about how do we actually integrate all the insight from all these different paradigms to build something that actually has all of those strengths. And, so there's been a fair bit of recent work. I just went to a online workshop last week on neurosymbolic, right? Is how do we actually synthesize the insights of both the symbolic paradigm and the neural paradigm, and it not being a competition, one or the other. It's how do we synthesize the insights that both of these provide? And, sometimes I did this early on. Actually, one of the earliest digital workshop, right? I gave an invited talk. I talked about, thinking fast and slow, right? We need human cognition. People are really good at more symbolic sorts of reasoning things, and they're very good at pattern recognition and this sort of thinking fast. And humans have been amazingly successful, intelligent creatures on the planet because we can sort of do both of these and integrate them very well at times that they need to be integrated. So I think the best tool is all of them together. How's that for me?
It's a good answer. But there are no bad answers either. What would you say is a favorite tool or a trick or a hack that makes your life more convenient or efficient or fun?
I don't know if I have a good answer there. Maybe I think it's not really a hack. I was gonna say like kind of going, I don't know, I feel like, for example, coming to Montreal was a decision to sort of add context to what you were adding before. So like, I didn't have any real reason to come to Montreal in terms of I don't have any, like ties to Montreal, and it's sort of more obvious to go to the Bay Area or something in order to work. But I think kind of going and doing things that are, like Montreal is a great place, and it was like a great opportunity for machine learning culture and the universities here and the industry coming in. But it's also, a little bit different. And so I think sort of being willing to kind of do something a little bit off the beaten track has generally worked out well for me.
Is there a favorite tool or trick or hack that makes your life more convenient or efficient or fun?
Let me see. So fun. I'm also a very boring person, unfortunately. But I think what kind of, let's say, keeps me kind of going is actually not being organized that well. I feel like, because I'm not overly excited about anything, or I'm not overly competitive against anybody else or about anything else. So if I'm even on top of that, if I were very, very organized as well, I might actually end up becoming a very routine person that's going to make me even more boring. So perhaps not organizing my time or anything is probably one way for me to, stay sane, I guess.
Interesting. Is there a favorite tool or a trick or a hack that you find makes your life particularly efficient or convenient or fun?
Or not really. I'm kind of an usually I cannot think of anything at this point. I don't know. Yeah, that's for example, I'm an old-fashioned person. Just to give you an idea, so I still use Vim for my editor. So that's so you can imagine like how I use tools and so on. So that's
Have you tried this new thing called Emacs?
oh. When I was a student, we had a professor. And he liked Emacs a lot. I think he still likes it, but and then he asked us to use Emacs for everything, and so I used Emacs for a certain period of time, but it was so hard to exit from that program, so I quit doing it.
I see. There is the common criticism lobbed at each other from Vim users to Emacs users and the other direction. Is there a particular tool or a trick or a hack that you find has made your life more convenient or efficient or fun? Like a planning device or something?
I wouldn't say it's one particular trick. It's just that I am the type of person who really likes to optimize things. I hate if I have to do a task multiple times. I want to figure out a way to do it faster, do it better, maybe hopefully automate it. And so because of that, I will sometimes spend a lot of time building something just for my own, personal use that seems like it might be a waste of time initially, but then invariably it does actually help long term. And yeah, there's lots of different things. Like, for example, area chair for a conference, like just building tools to automatically like grab all the reviews, parse them, put them into easy readable files, and have a spreadsheet that's auto created and color coded that will tell me, like, you know, what are the scores of the papers and stuff like that.
Oh, fancy. I want that. Should we just follow your GitHub repository? Is that what we should do?
Well, it's very hacky because only I have used it, but I'm happy to share it with you.
Okay. I think you may get requests after this. That sounds useful. What is one favorite tool or trick or hack that you found that you think makes life more convenient or efficient or fun? Something that makes you go, "Ooh, this is a good trick. I'll use this."
In life or in work?
Whichever zone you want to focus on.
I think that one trick that has worked for me is not to overthink things. So, okay, I want to give particular examples. Like, for example, I would not, I tend to say, I tend to do things more impromptu rather than think them through, because I realized that in the past I was thinking them through, and then it was when you try to think of a lot of, oh, what could happen if I did this, or what could not happen if I did this, then it will lead to you not doing it, because thinking about things always makes us say, you know, that the cons are trumping the pros. And other, I'm trying to think. What was your answer to that question?
My answer to that question was that if I need to get something done, then my trick is to try and somehow get it on Devi's to-do list. Because once it's on Devi's to-do list, it gets scheduled, it becomes a calendar entry, it will go into a right bucket, it will have a deadline and a due date, it'll get done, it'll get decomposed into small sub-steps, and it may actually get some of them get delegated back to me, but at least it will get done if I can somehow convince her that this is something that should be on her to-do list.
Does Debbie know that?
She knows. She's aware that I have injection attacks, and so now I genuinely have to find positive sum games where it is the right strategy.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good trick. Okay, I need to think. Yeah, I don't think oh, that's good. I need a Debbie in my life.
That's a good slogan. Maybe everybody needs a Debbie. Yeah. What is a favorite tool or trick or hack that you think makes your life more convenient or efficient or fun?
Yeah, this was a good question. I heard it in the original Humans of AI, and I liked listening to the answers. So yeah, I actually thought about this question, and I think, so the one hack that I think always works, maybe I already said that earlier in this one, but if there's something I don't want to do, but I have to do it, what I kind of try to do is, you know, basically, let's say if I have to write out feedback or something at the end of the half, which is not so much fun, but it's something that I have to do, I kind of leave it till the last minute, but I give it like enough time. So I give it 12 hours, which is how much I know I need to write it properly without procrastinating and, you know, looking at the internet. And then I leave it till the last minute so that I'm highly efficient when I am doing it, because I'm pressed against the deadline. And then I also tell myself, if I finish it early, I get 3 hours off. Woo. So yeah, that's a hack, that if there's something I don't want to do, I leave it till the last minute.
If you do it, this is the quote, right? If you do everything in the last minute, it only takes a minute.
Exactly.
I see. And do you find you're also able to invent deadlines for yourself to cram things up against, or does it have to be externally forced?
It has to be externally forced.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I'll start looking at the internet again. Oh, there's this cool video. Yeah, like a cat.
What is one favorite tool or trick or hack that makes your life more convenient or efficient or fun?
I keep notes,
Hmm.
Especially in professional life. I keep notes. I mean, I do less now, much more before. In general, in fact, when I was a beginning faculty member, when students will be sitting on the other side, even if they are not taking notes, I will be taking notes of our meetings. I'm like a compulsive note taker. It has led to all sorts of funny things. Actually, there was this one time, my advisor, Jim Handler was, we were later on, we were on a grant together, and he was giving this PI talk about it. And I was compulsively taking notes. And Jim apparently got completely spooked by it because he thought I was critiquing his talk while he was speaking, and I was finding all sorts of faults. And so he comes and says, wow, what all bad things did I say? Why were you writing so much? But that's just the way. If I'm listening to something, I take notes. It's not as much that you have to see the notes. The very act of taking notes helps you pay attention, helps me pay attention. And the other thing I find is that if I have taken notes on, let's say, a meeting I had with a student, when I go back and look at them, it comes back to me much faster than if they try to remind me what we were discussing. Because it's just you put them and you can almost see the picture. So I would think that's like a big hack. I mean, as I was saying earlier, I have a work diary that I've kept for 30 years. And, it's in Emacs. It's not even dot text, it's just text, it's ASCII. Right? And I have made my Emacs macros. If I say Control X, Control T, the date will come. And then after that, I will start typing away. There's stuff from like, God knows when, I think 98 is the one, this one started actually, even though I've been around for 30 years.
Fascinating.
That really helps to me. I mean, I write all this, I write the notes much more, and that helps for me.
And these are all obviously typed notes, but
yeah, type.
When you
I also write handwritten, I think, but when I go to talks and so on, I write handwritten. So I don't know if you guys, there was a time, there was this company called Livescribe, which was actually meant for people like me. So what they would do is they'll let you write on a normal note paper, and then it will automatically, like basically, upload all the written notes. I used to do that quite a bit. It's just that it's still handwriting recognition, especially my handwriting recognition is particularly bad. AI hasn't gotten up to that level. So searching for things would become slightly harder. I mean, I'm still like a big fan of long handwriting. Just that only I can read my handwriting.
You're not going to believe this, but I am a compulsive note taker as well. And on my desk is this.
Exactly. That's exactly. I think I just take, to me, it helps quite a bit. I almost feel naked without a notebook when things are going on. I mean, right now in front of you, below you, there's a notebook. I'm not writing anything, but I generally find that there should be something. So that is my big hack that seems to help, essentially.
What is a favorite tool or trick or hack that makes your life more convenient or efficient or fun? What is something that you figured out that, here's a trick I can use in certain situations?
I'm not as good with these tricks as I think other people are. I think I need to read more about other people's tricks. Something that I learned, I think it was some sort of teaching workshop, but it's not related to teaching so much, is to distinguish between things that are important and things that are urgent. And I've tried to teach this to my students, especially ones that are still new and are still TAing. I think it's very, it's kind of very obvious in hindsight, but it's good to keep in mind. And I've tried to I used to respond to every email and do every little administrative thing that I was supposed to do. Now I pile them up and don't deal with them for at least a few weeks. And occasionally when I'm really tired and really don't have much of energy to do anything constructive or creative, that's when I deal with those kinds of things. I'm usually not late, but and they're usually not that urgent, but yeah, it's not really a tool, but it's just a perspective, I guess.
And for completeness, I think the perspective is that you should prioritize important non-urgent things over urgent, unimportant things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Is there a life hack, an idea or a trick that makes your life particularly convenient in some aspect, or efficient or fun?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if this always applies, but I'm very much into prototyping. I think prototyping is really like, I don't know, I find it the most useful. So like, I'm kind of constantly putting out half-baked ideas or working hands-on on things. And I guess by prototyping, I mean more than just a thought, but actually building a minimal thing of some form. And so I think in projects, I often love tools that let you do that, things like Colab or even like Markdown, or just ways to draft ideas and so you feel like you have something tangible, or you know it's totally nonsense. So I think that's kind of what I find most useful. And I think it's because I'm a very like hands-on person in some ways. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. What is a life hack or a favorite tool, trick that makes your life more efficient or fun?
I just came out of lecture, so that's when my thoughts first came. I got one of these sort of writing boards, which can't be seen because of my green screen. And that's helped so much with sort of writing out annotations and doing things in class. Because we're on online instruction. So that, I couldn't imagine teaching without it right now. So I guess I'll say that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't use a lot of other gadgets, so it's hard to say.